Hi, this is David Mastio, California editor for the Center Square, and this is California in Focus. As always, I'm joined by Kenneth Schrupp, a California reporter for the Center Square. Today we're talking about regulating social media to protect children and what that might mean for adults. What's happening in California, Kenneth?
The state attorney general has sponsored a bill called the Protecting Youth from Social Media Addiction Act. It would ban social media notifications to minors between midnight and 6 a.m. without parental consent, and require that chronological and not algorithmic social media feeds be presented to minors, unless their parents, of course, otherwise consent. And you would only be able to get notifications or get an algorithmic, not chronological social media feed if the social media company has, quote, reasonably determined the user is not a minor. And this is where things get tricky, because even though it doesn't explicitly call for ID-based age verification, experts look at different laws across the country where verification is achieved using bank documents or government identification, and some say that's a real threat to anonymity and free speech online.
Who is concerned about free speech implications?
We're seeing a lot of civil rights groups. ACLU, for example, was one of the groups that was speaking out against some proposed national legislation on the matter. There are also corporate and tech-aligned groups that do oppose these, and lots of libertarians seem to oppose these as well.
Why does California's law have national implications?
All these social media companies are headquartered in California, and California is the largest market in the country. It's like how if the EU adopts some kind of regulation, it's so big that companies decide to just enact policies worldwide. Look at the iPhone, new iPhones, they come with a USB-C charger instead of a lightning cord because the EU mandated that all smartphones use USB-C cords. So now everyone has one. Something very similar could happen where you don't actually see legislation move forward at the national level, but California alone compels global change.
Will these proposed rules actually protect children?
It's not clear whether or not they will or will not protect children. We do know that the algorithm feeds are much more addictive than the chronological feeds. Chronological feeds show you posts in the order that they've been posted, whereas an algorithm shows you posts that you're most likely to engage with, which is what some people say is driving people to spend more time in social media and less time in the real world, and that's leading to severe mental health and physical health complications.
This isn't a partisan issue, right? Conservative Republicans are pursuing the same policies in other states.
Right. It appears to be a largely bipartisan effort to require age verification for social media websites. Other states include Arkansas, Ohio, Utah, and Florida.
What have the courts said there?
So a federal judge did issue an injunction against Arkansas's age verification law. They said that while there is an important interest in seeking to reduce harm to children, that actually a lot of adults who'd be interested in becoming account holders are deterred because they're going to have to upload official documents and even submit to other kinds of verification. The argument made by the court essentially is that if you have to tie everyone's personal identity to social media accounts, all in the sake of reducing the number of minors on platforms, if somebody wants to say something controversial that is true and important, they might not be able to do so, and that could have very bad consequences for the country.
But the judge said age verification was acceptable for porn sites, right?
Yes, correct. The court did say that narrowly tailored age verification for just adult content better hold up to legal scrutiny because it's very limited. It's not all kinds of content. It's just the ability to watch pornographic content.
In Washington, D.C. this week, social media executives testified and both parties went after them. What happened?
Elected officials from both parties went after social media sites for everything from sexual predators to addictive features and the increase in suicide and eating disorders and unrealistic beauty standards and bullying. Senators really threw the book at social media sites, including the CEOs of Meta, also known as Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. These social media companies did respond by apologizing Mark Zuckerberg stood up in the middle of testimony to apologize to parents whose children have been harmed by social media use. And this all comes as lawmakers are advancing a package of bills to improve child safety online. But again, like in California, there's a lot of push and pull. Behind the scenes, a lot of members are concerned about free speech implications. Some of them are being heavily lobbied by the major tech industry donors. There does not seem to be a huge effort to move this forward. Chuck Schumer has not indicated that he would be supporting this new package of bills, and it does seem for now that they won't be moving forward.
I'm David Mastio with the Center Square, and we've been talking with Kenneth Schrupp, California reporter for the Center Square. You can read his work at thecentersquare.com. Thank you for listening to California in Focus, and please subscribe to our podcast.
Are you tired of news that puts politics over people? At the nonprofit Franklin News Foundation, we believe in putting people over politics by delivering nonpartisan news and audio content that serves you, the American taxpayer. With Franklin News Foundation, you can read fact-based, state-focused news for free at thecentersquare.com. You can listen to civil, balanced conversations between policy experts through our podcast network at americastalking.com. Or you can get in-depth news on K-12 education spending, curriculum, and school safety at chalkboardnews.com. It's all free through Franklin, where we put you, the American taxpayer, first in every story, episode, and conversation. And it's only possible through our supporters. Together, we can produce content that puts people over politics and brings Americans the news they deserve. Become a supporter today at franklinnews.org/donate. Once again, that's franklinnews.org/donate.